They're so fancy, they come in a pretty little case that says made in China. So the COVID only spreads to myself. Attention to detail. Black. We got black clamps.
What in the world? Time to get cracking at it. So I've played with it a little bit. Let's talk about the list real quick. Actually, let's talk about what I've done so far. So ever since I put the sway bar on this thing, well, the sway bars, the bigger ones, it's ride like crap. So I went back through to figure out what's going on, and I think I found it. I just forgot to tighten the sway bar links. Those are nice and tight now. I'm gonna have Brad look over everything, put a second set of eyes on there, just to make sure. Never know. Beyond that, nothing crazy. Everything's pretty much here, ready to go. Turbo kit, we'll put that back on. I've got headlights to wire. I've got the fan wiring to finish installing. I'm gonna move my coolant bottle to secure the relays. There's a couple of things inside. I do need to make a couple of these. These are the vent gauge holders, so I can install a couple gauges the right way. I was able to find a fresh street globe box, so that needs swapped out. Got to put the system back in because it's still in the truck. The rear valve cover is getting changed to one with a plug in it, so no more of that hose in the back that kept falling out. Front one, I think I might pull just to change that grommet there, along with a fresh PCV and PCV setup. Actually, I'm gonna cut threads in this guy and put something like this in there. That way there's a nice seal, so I'm not blowing it out, because that was like one of my biggest boost issues, was a leak from right there. I've got, luckily I had to steal the fuel regulator off this car, and I forgot I had this on the shelf, so we're gonna put the adjustable regulator on there. Just need some new O-rings, and then we'll put a gauge on the other end. This will go over here in this area. I just got to cut down that bracket. Try to build some kind of bracket for the turbo off this side, and add some kind of bracket in this area for the charge pipe. It's about the area where the MAF sits, and that'll be pretty much it. That should put this thing, should be able to start it. I should have no more issues with the coolant system because I just installed this. Let's get this freaking list knocked out. All right, so turbo kit's in. I went ahead and knocked that out. We're gonna move to wiring now. So let's do headlights. And we're just gonna test basically the wiring real quick, because you can't tell the difference between these two wires. I just wanna make sure highs and lows are correct. We'll put good connectors on there. And then, yeah, pretty simple. So got retrofit and a stock housing with HIDs. And then it has its own little relay system here. Pretty easy. Pretty much once we get past the testing stage here, it'll be able to throw everything together and we'll move on. So I'll probably hide it, well, I know I'll hide it a little better just because I don't want it hanging out, but for the time being, I'm just gonna ground it right here to the fender. Fire up. Good to roll there. Let's do some wiring. All right, headlights are done. Time to move on. We're gonna go to the fan wiring next. So get that out, get those mounted, and we're gonna have to crawl underneath the dash and do some more wiring. maybe some of you aren't familiar with what the wiring fan is. So basically, you plug your existing harness into the new harness and then the harness into your fans. Everything chases to these 3 relays. You go to hot, a ground, and then a connector that will be connecting to the wiring inside. So it usually has its own little switch. Just cooking away there, aren't you?
I want to fucking do. It can't just be simple.
Trimmed inside here a little bit. Install it. Now I can rotate it.
No, it's the hat. You got this valve right here. What goes in this?
Is it really coming out of there?
Yeah.
That's the vacuum line.
Yeah.
That means the diaphragm's bad. Alright, so our Casper's is bad. I may tear it apart, I may not, I don't know. Otherwise, it's gonna go on the shelf. I did have a new OEM one. We'll just go back to that, nothing wrong with it. And then the fuel gauge, I gotta take it back off and take the Schrader valve out. Now that we're set up, here's where we left off before we moved. Got the gauge on and verified it works. We verified the fuel system has no leaks, so that's good. All that stuff's back on. I put the new bracket on there. She's ready for some coolant. I have the upper curing right now. So here's what we came up with. Little JB weld. Down to the final things here. Change the oil real quick. Finish put my wires on and should be ready for startup. We'll test it out and see how it does. I may need to put some kind of barrier. I'm not sure how much is going to move, but that seems to have kind of made that a little more solid. And really, I just want to get it fired up. I'm going to do all this work real quick, and then I'll come back in here and do some wiring. That won't take much at all. Get to work, and I'll check back in when we get ready to fire it up. Time to see what I messed up. You know, we can look at now. Bam! Fuel pressure. That'll be a wrap for this. I'm gonna finish up the rest of the little things. Be ready for the season. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.